Hello everybody, this is Bob Cooke from the Manchester Institute of Psychotherapy, and I'm here to do some videos on supervision. And the video we're going to do today is actually a series of 7 segments of role play which demonstrates the 7-eyed model, which was first devised by Peter Hawkins and shohet. And they wrote a book in 1989 called Supervision in the Helping Professions, where they outlined this model. I find it a very useful model. It's a very useful model on 2 particular dimensions. One, it gives the supervisor, and actually the supervisee, a grid for knowing where they are in the supervision process. And also, I find the integrative part of the model very good in terms of the parallel process, and really showing the integration of the different, what they call modes, or different segments of the whole model. So here we go. We're going to start off with stage 1, which they call modes. And stage 1 is particularly looking at behavioural observation of the early sessions that a supervisee does with their client. The supervisor will help the supervisee home in on behavioural observation, behavioural skills, and what was actually happening in that supervision session. So bringing to light, almost like a painting, for the supervisee and the supervisor to actually look at in real life. So 2 parts to it. One is the homing in of the supervisee's behavioural skills, and secondly for the supervisee to bring to life, almost like a painting, for the supervisor to help the supervisee look at what was really happening in the supervision session. So I've got Rory Lee Oates here, who is going to role play. It's very important to remember that. This is made up, it's fiction. It's not actually true, but in terms of confidentiality, it's important that we know that. So I've got Rory Lee Oates, who is and was a senior teacher in counselling, and thank you very much for coming.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Bob, and what a great opportunity to gain supervision from someone who knows so much about it.
Thank you, Roy. It's great. I'm really feel privileged here, and you're going to act this out. And I've been wanting to do this for a long time, because to actually have some videos to describe the particular stages within this model is going to be so important for the learners.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be really good for education, for sure.
So we start with first stage.
Yes.
It is an interactive model, but it's not that when I teach this, it's not that the supervisor has to go through all the 7 models in one session with the supervisee. The way I'm teaching, the way we're going to teach it, we're going to break down each of the stages and the 7 stages, so that the learner can really see the focus of the supervision for each stage before they go and, my model, teaching it, go and practice themselves. So that's going to get focused, and then in the end we'll look at it in an interactive way. Yeah. So this is like, when you drive a car, turning the gears bit by bit and then putting it all together.
Okay.
So we're going to start mode 1, which, as I said, is about behavioural focus and bringing to light the first session, and then comparing with the final session to see if the 2 paintings are particularly different.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about this client.
Okay, so I've seen this client for 3 sessions, and she's a woman in her mid-40s. She was referred to me through the agency I work at. I work at a charity.
Okay.
So initially I got a referral. I got my practice manager referred it to me and sent me the phone number, and I've made contact and made arrangements to meet. She's in her mid-40s. She has a son who lives not in Manchester, but in another town quite a few hundred miles away from where she lives. And unfortunately, he is a injecting drug user.
Right.
And he's so bad that actually he is in the process of being told that he may lose his leg.
Lose his leg?
Lose his leg. He injects
wow.
in the leg and he's damaged the leg, the veins, that's how she explained it, so badly that they're saying they might have to amputate it.
Gosh.
And one of the compounding things that this client's bringing is that she wants desperately to bring him home. He's a little boy.
Yeah.
But she lives in social housing and he's previously lived at home and he's caused so much trouble he's now got an ASBO. So he can't live in the area that he lives in. And the client's new husband has basically said to her, you know, you've got another child, you've got a daughter, and also, you know, if he comes back, he's not picking up the treatment programs, and he's going to get us evicted because she was in social housing. They basically said that if he comes back, they'll terminate her tenancy.
So she doesn't know where to go then?
Doesn't know where to go. She's pretty desperate with it, yeah.
Okay, so this is really why she's with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you work for a charity.
Yes.
And they assessed her before they passed her on to you.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to that first session.
Okay.
Let's go to your counselling rooms and tell me a little bit about how this works in terms of how you first met her.
Well, I first met her by phoning her up. And we had a brief conversation over the phone and set time and a date, and then I met her at the agency. They have a waiting room.
Oh, waiting room.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was the only person there, so I wandered in and I said, "Are you here to see Rory?" And she said yes, and she was texting on a mobile phone, and she put the phone away. Yeah. And then from then we went into the therapy room. And
was your first picture of her as someone who was relaxed or anxious, or what?
She was a bit preoccupied, Bob. She seemed to be busy, distracted. And she kind of came in. She stopped what she was doing immediately, came in, she had a drink, they made a drink for them, and then we went to the room.
Was this her first time in therapy?
It was, yeah. It subsequently unfolded. It was her first encounter with a therapist.
So maybe she was just distracting herself, you know,
possibly.
Take away from her nerves.
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly.
So you took her to the counselling room.
Yeah.
Came in, and tell me a little bit about the geographical layout of your room, like sofas, or how does it work?
The room has got a couple of nice, easy chairs. It's got a low coffee table, tissues, there's a clock, and there's also a table lamp. We didn't particularly need that because it's been quite sunny over the last few weeks.
So quite attractive.
Quite attractive, yeah.
Okay. So who did she choose to where to sit, or did you ask her to sit?
I opened the door and she wandered through, and I said, "Just sit where you like, you know."
She sat down.
She sat down.
And she's still playing with her phone, or was that?
No, she put her phone away. By the time she put her phone away, put it in her handbag.
Okay. And did she appear relaxed? Did she sit?
Initially, she did. She sat quite squarely in the chair, and
you sat opposite her.
Sat opposite her, yeah, well, slightly down, a bit like we are today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she appeared quite relaxed at the start.
Initially.
Okay. So it sounds like she felt relaxed enough to tell you her story.
Yes.
And did she stay relaxed all session, or?
No, we did the contract, which was a bit new for her because she never had therapy before. Once we'd done the contractual side of things, I said to her, we had a brief conversation on the phone. He talked about his son. Is that what you want to talk about? And then she started off by saying her son's name, and then she kind of changed quite dramatically.
Okay, and how did she change? So if I was to watch this, look on at this scene, tell me a little bit. How did she change? I mean, when you say change, did her energy go up, which was?
She became a bit animated. She looked like a bit of a rabbit in the headlights. She spoke a lot quicker.
Oh, right.
Her voice was a lot quicker, almost as if she had to get all the information out in one go.
Oh, right. So this is really important for her.
Yes.
This is the real crux of the story, why she's here. And it sounds like, in fact, she was quite agitated.
She was, it was sad to see really. She was desperate because, on one hand her son is, getting ill and more ill. So it's not just a drug use, which is, you know, it's obviously can be very difficult, but also his health is failing quite dramatically. And also it turned out through the course of the work that he's breached his bail conditions.
Breached his bail conditions?
Yeah.
Oh,
so there's a warrant out for his arrest. The police sometimes take a bit of time to come and collect them. So you know, he's been in hospital a couple of times, but at any moment he's going to take him back into prison. Yeah.
So she managed to tell you all the story in the 50 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow, gosh. So by the end of the session, how was she? Was she still agitated or more relaxed? Or?
Well, it didn't take long as the story unfolded for her to become very tearful and very upset. And it kind of felt, Bob, like she was watching someone drown. She stood at the edge of a lake, say, and she's watching someone drown, and she just felt powerless to go in and help them. It was terrible. Really. It was awful to watch, and you know, and she interspersed what she was saying, my little boy, even though the guy's kind of 19.
So, did she appear frightened and panicked then?
Yeah, despairing. Despairing, Bob.
Okay, so quite hopeless.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I know it's 50 minutes these sessions. So what are you saying to me that she was despairing, hopeless, and did she leave in that state? Or?
Well, towards the end of the session, I started to look at how she mapped her support mapping.
Good.
Had she anybody she could see between the sessions? How, you know, how supportive the husband. The husband was quite pragmatic. He's not unsupportive, but what he's saying is we could lose everything by having him back, and because he's not getting involved in the treatment programs, you know, they could all sing. So rather, the metaphor of drowning is a pretty good one, really.
Pretty good one all the way around.
Pull them all down.
Yeah, but what's really good, Gloria, is that you highlighted support for her. Okay, now let's zoom to your last session. You said you three all together, so let's go to, you've just seen it, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Have things changed much? Is she more relaxed, less agitated? Where are we up to now?
Well, when she came the last time, she was quite anxious because he nearly died in police custody last time.
God.
And the reason for that wasn't anything the police had done. It was because because of his drug addiction, he has very bad kidney problems and he needs to hydrate himself quite often, quite a lot. Yeah. And he never communicates his difficulties to anybody. So
not even the mother?
No, not even the mother. So what happens is that he got arrested. This is the last time he got arrested. He was in a cell and they checked on him and he was unconscious. They got a doctor in, and they found out that he was in the process of kidney failure.
Oh my God!
And the doctor said he needs to rehydrate himself. I don't know what the ins and outs of the drug use has done to him, but and she's very worried that if he won't say anything and they might find him dead in the cell.
Gosh, so as the story evolves when we get to this third session, she's exasperated, even more worried perhaps about her son, and it sounds like that she's relaxed enough with you to be able to go into the depths of her fear and panic.
Yes, she was, you know, it was quite intense. It was quite intense, you know. She talked quite in depth about it, and part of her is rational, part of her understands where her husband's coming from. Her husband is a bit like a counterbalance. He says, look, you know, he's not in the process of wanting to change, so therefore we'll just end up on the street.
So in that session, I know you've got another one coming up. Did you also emphasise, like before, about her internal resources, her support, and taking care of herself?
Yeah, that was the start of the session, really, about how she'd been that week, how she'd looked for support, and you know, she'd got a friend.
Oh, good, you highlighted that.
Yeah, highlighted the fact that she spoke to a friend, and a friend had much said what her husband says, that unless this guy wants to change, then there's really little you can do about it. You know, and understanding how sad it is. You know, friends also indicated that you can go to a support group for people who Narcotics Anonymous and have families and maybe getting support. So she's thinking about that.
Okay, so by the end of this session, was her fear subsiding a bit?
No,
which is still quite heightened.
Still quite heightened, Bob.
Okay, so if we think of the next session that you're going to go on to, which you haven't got to yet.
Yeah.
If I was to think of the painting of that, are you imagining that she might be less panicked and she's more able to be soothed by you, or what's your
slowly I think the realisation over the last 3 sessions is that actually he has to take a bit of responsibility here.
Right, okay.
Doesn't make it any less painful for her.
No.
But what she's saying is that he's not getting involved in treatment programs, he's not altering his behaviour, and that he unless he does something, he may very well end up in a very difficult place.
We've demonstrated to me or shown me, I can really see these paintings, these pictures, how it is for her, and how she's in terms of energy and panic and exasperation, and where you are now. So I look forward to catching up with you next time we meet and seeing how these paintings evolve.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how the canvas pans out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.